Hey guys, happy Monday. It's Joe and it's time for Pikkit with Joe. It is Monday, April 17th, and it's finally that time. We've got playoff hockey, 4 games on the slate today. Lots of opportunities to make some frickin' money, you guys. I'm excited for today, and I'm excited to see you guys all already jumping in. So big shout out to each and every one of you that is joining me here live on YouTube and on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, everywhere you guys are joining from. So big shout out to each and every one of you. If you want to be involved in the comments, come over here to YouTube and drop the comments over here so we can all see them. Let's get going. 4 games on the board. Lots of opportunities, you guys, to make some money. Now, looking at the first game, we have the New York Islanders taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, 7 o'clock Eastern. This series between these two is going to be absolutely phenomenal. At the end of the day, I do think Carolina takes it. Sorry to all you Islander fans out there. My issues with the Islanders is their inconsistencies throughout the season. Now, Carolina is starting Rantanen here tonight. I am actually surprised we are seeing him in net. So he has a save shots on goal of 25.5 at -118. I'm not going to touch it in this one because we do see the Carolina Hurricanes really doing a solid job of limiting their opponent's ability to get these shots on goal. They're holding opponents right to that 26. And the Islanders aren't a team like the Florida Panthers where we see a massive amount of shots. They're coming in only averaging that 30.8. But when I look at Sorokin, who is confirmed in goal for the New York Islanders, I am liking his save shots on goal in this one because Carolina is one of those teams that really does get these shots on goal, averaging 34.8 shots on goal per game. Now, they're only putting up 3.2, but they're doing a very solid job at getting these shots. So I do think Sorokin is pivotal for the Islanders not to get blown away in this series. He needs to come out strong each and every game. The Islanders defensively need to play strong as well. Islanders allowing an average of 2.65 and 31 shots on goal. So Sorokin coming in tonight over 30.5 save shots, and I know it's a lot of shots for the Carolina Hurricanes to put on goal tonight, but I definitely think we get there. He goes over this number. Now, I do think this is a lower scoring one. We got a total of 5.5. I do think we will see 5s in this series between these two because this is going to be defensive hockey. If you don't like defensive hockey, this is not the matchup for you. As we go into the playoffs, we're going to see lower totals as defenses really do need to do their part. So looking at the Islanders, they have struggled versus the Carolina Hurricanes, which does give me another issue with looking at them here as the underdog. You guys know I love an underdog, but I just can't get behind this Islanders team. But that being said, Carolina on the money line is way too juicy. So I had to find a way to make some money in this one. Now, Rantanen in goal. I do think he has a solid night. I'm going to look at the Islanders team total. They just haven't been scoring these goals. So I do think even if they got a 2-1 win, they still go under the 2.5 goals at -136. So I'm going to take the Islanders team total under 2.5. It's at -136, and I think there is value in that. I do think this is a 2-1 game. Is it 2-1 for the Canes? I'm pretty sure it's 2-1 for the Canes and not 2-1 for the Islanders, or it's 3-2 for the Carolina Hurricanes. So looking for it to stay under the total 5.5, looking for the Islanders to stay under their team total of 2.5. And I look at that first period under 1.5 too. I think we get the strongest defense in that first period. So it's going to be a great defensive matchup here. Russ, happy Monday. I'm glad to see you here. Playoffs are here. And so are the Bruins. Yeah, so are the Bruins, big sis. So this is going to be a fun one, you guys. And I did look at these matchups between the Bruins and the Islanders. If you guys haven't checked out the site head-to-head, it is a phenomenal site for hockey. And I'm going to drop that in here for you guys on YouTube where you can look at all of these recent games and how these teams have done in those head-to-heads. So that is right there for you guys not watching on YouTube or Facebook. That is the link. But I love looking at this and looking at these teams in each and every single game and how they've done. So Carolina did win the last matchup in New York. They got that 2-1 win. They also won the previous 5-2. They won the previous one before that 3-0. And then the Islanders haven't won since 4 games ago where they got a 6-2 win. Now, could the Islanders come in here and do it? Absolutely, but I do think this Canes team is better on both sides of the puck. So I'm leaning on them to get the win tonight at -170. I don't want to touch it. I do think the Islanders stay under that total of 2.5. When we look at the last couple games, they got 1 goal back in March. They had 2 goals in January, 0 goals in December of last year, 2 goals, and then 6 in that one that they got the win. I just don't see the goals by the Islanders coming tonight. So I will be shocked if the Islanders put up a whole bunch of goals on the Canes in this one. So take their team total under 2.5 first period, under 1.5. I'd also look at the full game under 5.5. I think this is the Canes game to win. My favorite bet is the Islanders under. Let's move on to the 7:30 Eastern matchup between the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins. Now, -225 here for the Boston Bruins, +190 for the Florida Panthers, and this total sitting solid at 6. Now, Leon is confirmed in goal for the Florida Panthers. Allmark is expected. No confirmations yet on Allmark. I'd be really shocked if Swayman came in instead of Allmark in this one. I already told you guys. I think the Boston Bruins do it in 4. Get the sweep or 5. So it's either a sweep or 5 games. That being said, I think the Florida Panthers' best chance of getting the upset win is in game 1. We look at the Boston Bruins coming in off of rest. Extended rest of 3 or more days has not been working in their favor for the Boston Bruins as they come out a little rusty. And yes, this is playoff hockey. Do I expect the Boston Bruins to win? Absolutely. They are the better team up and down. We know how strong they were in the season. They finished first in the Atlantic, going 65-12-5. We have the Florida Panthers. They finished 4th. They really had to dig deep to get into the playoffs here. So they finished 42-32-8 on this season. They went 6-3-1 in their last 10, and Boston went 9-1 in their last 10. The Bruins are the better team, but we look at them entering games on 3 days or more rest. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games. So that gives me a little bit of concern here. Not enough concern to take the Florida Panthers straight up in this one. I would maybe look at the Florida Panthers on the puck line +0.5 goal in that first period, but I do like them +1.5 for the full game as well at -137. I think this is one that the Florida Panthers give us enough in this one to keep it tight. And like I said, I do think if the Florida Panthers are going to get an upset, it comes in game 1. So that being said, they've struggled in Boston. This is going to be a crazy game. We know the Bruins are the better team. I think the Bruins come out of this series, like I said, in 4 or in 5. I think if Florida doesn't win this one tonight, I can't see them getting the upset. Unless there's something that I really see out on the ice tonight. I've already sprinkled on +490 for the sweep, and I believe it was +230 to get it done in 5. I really can't see this one going 6 in this series. I think the Bruins are the better team of the 2. Both Boston goalies have illness right now. Okay, so that is terrible to see, Russ. And then I guess that makes sense why we're not getting confirmation on who's coming in here. With that being said, you guys, if we don't have Swayman or Allmark in for Boston, you have to right now grab the Florida Panthers plus that 1.5 for the full game, -137 at the moment. If you can get them, sprinkle on that money line. Like I said, best chance of the upset here. Florida Panthers going to do the impossible. Yeah, Joe, see, and I think it is the best chance for them to get it done here in that first round. Both goalies having illness. That is terrible for the Bruins here. That is for sure. The Panthers did go 6-2 in their last 8 overall, 4-1 in their last 5 versus the Atlantic. We could see the upset here, and we're getting a plus money. Let me just see if any of these odds are changing on any book. I just want to look. +176, we can still get the Florida Panthers, and then +1.5 at -142 on that puck line. That total still sitting solid. It's actually moved up to 6.5. It was at 6. So you guys do what you want with that. We will see really good defense out of the Boston Bruins still. So I think the Panthers plus the 1.5 is the best bet. Let's move on to the 9:30 Eastern matchup between the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. This one total of 5.5 as well. And just like the other game that I said, we were going to see lower scoring ones with the Canes and the Islanders. This is another lower scoring game between the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Dallas Stars finished second in the Central with a record of 47, 21, and 14. In their last 10 games, they went 8-2. And we look at the Minnesota Wild coming in here. They went 5-3-2 in their last 10. They finished third in the Central, 46, 25, and 11. Both of these teams absolutely phenomenal. Gustafsson expected to start here for the Minnesota Wild, and Ottinger for the Dallas Stars. Now, Ottinger, I love what we see out of him in goal. Dallas Stars have been strong at home as well in the regular season, going 22, 10, 7, and 2. The Wild were strong on the road as well, 21, 13, 5, and 2. Looking at these teams, they are very, very similar. Comparing each other. We have strong offense, especially from the Dallas Stars. They're averaging over 3 goals per game. Minnesota Wild, they really rely on their defense, but they are allowing these shots to come in, so goaltending is a huge key for the Minnesota Wild. Now, if Marc-Andre Fleury isn't goal, not Gustafsson right away, I would take the Dallas Stars here for the win. Now, we're paying -140 for the Dallas Stars. I do think this is kind of a coin flip between these two. It's whoever's defense and goaltending is going to come out the strongest. Total of 5.5. I think you have to hit it under. First period under as well. I see both goaltenders standing on their heads tonight. The under in the first period is coming in at -115 on the under 1.5. The under 5.5 for the full game is solid as well. Now 4-1 in the last 5 meetings to the under, 7-3 to the last 10 meetings in Dallas to that under. The only way I think this one goes over that total is if we get OT in this game. But that total of 5.5, I really do think we finish this one as a 3-2 game or a 2-1 game. This is going to be solid. This is another one I really do think we start to see fives coming out in the next game, because I do think this one is a 2-1, possibly 3-2 style game. But it's going to be very hard. Yeah, the President's Trophy jinx. It's just like the Madden jinx in football. It's really interesting. So first goal of the game from the Wild. Yeah, absolutely. I would look at these first goals of the game, getting into betting those. I'm not sure if I'd go with the Wild, Groovy, but I like where you're going with that, looking at those first goals. I'm going to be a little cautious. I'm going to only have a couple bets in each of these games. Not going to do a lot of props in these games either till I see how these teams come out and really play each other in this first round to see if they look to focus on their defense. We know both the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild can really step up offensively, but I think the heart and the core of these teams is defense, is goaltending. So I do expect that lower scoring one. The last time these teams played, the Wild won it 2-1 back in February. Now, could I see this first period going over the 1.5? And I've kind of struggled with this because I do like the under 1.5. And you guys, we've talked about how much I like, even when we got good goaltending and defenses, for both these teams to come out so solid to start this game, sneak an early one in on these goaltenders. Normally what I like, but this first round of the playoffs, I do think between the Wild and the Stars, we have this first period here come out, almost be a stalemate. I could see it going scoreless in that first period, them opening up in the second and the third, really locking down again. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think the majority of the goals will come in the second of this one. Again, I think it's going to be a low scoring. Let's look at the last game on the board, 10 o'clock Eastern, the LA Kings taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, Edmonton a $2 favorite, which I'm shaking my head over why they're such a large favorite here. Yes, they finished second in the Pacific, but for a lot of the season, they were down below the LA Kings, who were second in the Pacific, falling down to third in the Pacific. They finished the season 47, 25, and 10, and I know Edmonton's gone into correct form. They're playing better defensively. Skinner has been incredible in some of these games. He will get the start tonight. Korpisalo looks like he will get the start tonight for the LA Kings, which we talked about this, you guys, which goalie we would see out here. I do think we get a phenomenal performance out of Korpisalo. We're going to look at his save shots on goal in this one as well, because I do think he is pivotal, just like Sorokin's pivotal for the Islanders. Korpisalo is pivotal for the LA Kings to stay in this series because we know how strong the Edmonton Oilers are offensively. Now, they're averaging almost 4 goals per game at 3.96 goals per game and 33.6 shots on goal. Now, LA should do a solid job of being able to limit their shots because they hold opponents to right around that 27.9. But we've seen in some of these games, they do struggle to limit Connor McDavid and company. This team is playing phenomenal. They're playing phenomenal hockey. And you guys know it kills me to say that. I do love not both of these teams. I love the teams in the Pacific, not the Edmonton Oilers as much, but I love what we see now, the LA Kings. I love both of their goaltenders. I think Korpisalo is the right move here. We've seen him play so strong versus Edmonton, but we've also seen Skinner get the shutout versus the LA Kings. The last time these two teams played, just on February 4th, Edmonton rolled into LA, got a 3-1 win. It was absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, Skinner had a pivotal game. So in this one, with how the Kings have played in Edmonton, I don't want to lay the $2 on Edmonton, but I do think the Kings plus 1.5 at -155. I think this is a 1-point game. My concern here is what side of Edmonton will we get? So I'm staying up this total at 6.5. I do think if we see some goals, they come early. The over 1.5 in the first period, both teams to score in the first period, I think is live in this one. But I do think this is either a 3-2 game with the majority of the goals coming in that first period, or this is a 3-4 game and we go over that total of 6.5. I lean to the earlier. I do think this one probably stays under that total of 6.5, but that first period going over the total of 1.5, both teams scoring. It just depends how strong Edmonton comes out on the defensive side of things. So total, I'm staying off, but you guys, this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. That being said, these two teams do trend to that under. The under is supported in the last 5 meetings we've seen, or last 6 meetings, we've seen 5 go under the total. And in the last 5 in Edmonton, 4 have gone under the total. The Oilers have gone 9-1 in the last 10 at home. This is going to be, I think this series goes 7, you guys. I really do. I think the Kings, with how physical they are, can wear down the Oilers in some of these games and get these wins. At the end of the day, I hate to say it. It makes me feel kind of sick to say it. I do think Edmonton wins that last game to move on in the playoffs here. But I think the Kings give them everything they got and push it right to game 7. So this is going to be a great series. I really hope it goes to 7, you guys. It will be absolutely fantastic to see. Correct score, wild win, 3-2. I like it. I think it is a good one to go with. I don't know who their third string goalie is off the top of my head. That is something. Oh, it is Brussy called up from. Oh man, that's really sad for the Boston Bruins. Okay, bug going around the Boston Bruins locker room. Patrice questionable also. Wow, you guys, if you haven't jumped on the Florida Panthers plus the 1.5 since we started this show, with this news coming out about illness with Boston, jump on it right now. You guys can sprinkle on that money line. I would caution the money line, although it could happen. Like I said, the best chance of the Florida Panthers getting the win. Next man up in Boston is going to be huge. We know this team is deep. It's the goaltending. That is the biggest question. So I would wait on the goaltending to see, but with this news, I would hit the plus 1.5 on the Florida Panthers. You could look at the shots on goal, especially if we're seeing illness go around. Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal for the Florida Panthers. We know he really has to dig deep for this team. So you guys, those are the games of the day. I can't wait. This is going to be freaking amazing playoff hockey. I think we've got phenomenal series to kick off. I can't wait for tomorrow's games as well. You guys, make sure you drop below which games you're liking, which games you're betting, who you're cheering for, what your Stanley Cup predictions are. If you think the Boston Bruins can get out of the first round with illness going through, if you think the Toronto Maple Leafs will get through the first round, they might. This might be their chance to get through the first round. We haven't seen it happen at all. Joe, don't touch Edmonton laying 1.5. You can lay 1.5 with Edmonton. Absolutely. I'm just not confident enough that Edmonton can come out and win this one by 2 goals. And yes, we have seen it. And I know we've seen Edmonton dominate over the LA Kings, but I think this is a 1-goal game. I think the Kings have to come out in this one, be really strong defensively, really limit the Edmonton Oilers on the offensive side of the puck. I think this is a 3-2 style game, because here's the thing. If the Kings get completely blown out of the water in this one and then get blown out in the next one, all the pressure is on the Kings once they return home in the next game. And we've seen Edmonton play strong. I think if the Kings don't play strong in this one, this series is not going to go deep. And I expect this series to go deep. So I expect the Kings to come out on fire. You also have to remember, with Korpisalo in goal, he gives them a phenomenal chance. So let's look at Korpisalo, his save shots on goal, because this is one thing I'm going to bet. It wasn't up earlier, and I hope it's up now. I believe he is confirmed. And we're going to look at Skinner's as well. So Korpisalo's save shots on goal is 28.5 at -118 to the over and -108 to the under. And then Stuart Skinner's save shots on goal is 27.5 at -120 over, and under is, I lost spots, -106 to the under for Skinner. So let's just look at this. I know right away I'm going to take Korpisalo's, because we know the Kings allowed in the last game Edmonton to still rack up those shots. So Edmonton is averaging 31.4 allowed shots on goal. We've got Korpisalo coming in at 28.5, -118 to the over. The Kings do a good job of limiting, and we saw in that one game, there was only 3 shots on goal in that first period a couple of games ago between these two. And while I do think it could be possible in this one, I think what we're going to see is the Kings defense a little bit rusty coming into this game, allowing the Edmonton Oilers to get more shots on goal. So I am going to hit Korpisalo over 28.5 shots on goal. Now for Skinner at 27.5. At -120 to the over, I still think there's value as well. The Kings averaging that 32.4 shots on goal, and the Edmonton Oilers allowing 31.4. Skinner is going to have to be completely on his game tonight, and Edmonton knows this. So I do think, looking at both of these goalies, I definitely think Skinner. And I didn't think this going into this. I was expecting to want to bet Korpisalo right away. I think Skinner is probably the better bet of this game, because the Edmonton Oilers defense does allow a lot more shots on goal than the LA Kings. Do I think Edmonton's going to get enough shots on Korpisalo? Absolutely. So the goalie props, Skinner over 27.5 save shots on goal, -120 is my favorite. But I do still like Korpisalo. I'm still going to bet it over 28.5 shots, save shots on goal at -118. So I'm going to bet both of those. So if you like anyone for those shots on goal, definitely look at those tonight, because I do think the shots are coming. I just think the defense, little not lacking in this game, but I do think they allow these shots to come in. So you guys, that's the 4 games. If you want to, let's build a parlay. Let's do a long shot. I'm excited for tonight's games, you guys. I'm going to watch at home. I was thinking I'd go to the pub, and guess what? People are going to distract me. So not going to the pub. The Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the Canes get the win. So should we put them on the money line in this one? Yeah, let's put the Canes in the parlay on the money line. It's -170, but I'm going to throw them there on the money line. I do think the Islanders team total under 2.5 is the best bet of this game at -136. I think this is a lower scoring game. The game under 5.5 as well, I think, is very solid. The Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins, with sickness going through the Boston Bruins, I do think you got to bet on the Florida Panthers right now before this line moves. +1.5 on that puck line at -136 up to -142. That's what I'm going to put in the parlay as well. The Panthers +1.5. I think it's a solid bet. Look at Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal. Question marks on goaltending, question marks on health of the Boston Bruins at the moment. So If there is a rookie goalie in here as well, I would look at that first period over 1.5. Both teams to score in the first period as well. We know the Boston Bruins are going to come out. They will know in this game if they come out with illness, if we're not seeing their top goaltending. I do think we see Boston play an extremely fast-paced offensive game. So I think that one will go over the total if we see a backup goalie in there. Otherwise, I'm staying off it. So that's what I'm liking in that one, you guys. The next game, the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. I do think the Stars probably get the win here at home at -140 with Ottinger in goal. I like the first period under 1.5. I like the game under 5.5 as well. I think we've got a lower scoring 2-1 style game at the worst, 3-2 style game here. Give me the under 5.5 between the Wild and the Stars for the parlay. And if for the parlay you want to buy that up to 6, I don't blame you. You can buy it up to 6. You're going to pay a little bit more juice, but within the parlay, it's going to be fine. At worst, then you push within that. The LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. I do think the Kings plus 1.5 at -155 holds value here. I think this is a 1 point or 1 goal game here. I see it being, though, staying under that total of 6.5 because I think both of these goaltenders stand on their heads. I don't think it's a defense tonight, but I think offensively, these teams get these shots on goal, but goaltending stands up. The last time these teams played, Edmonton got a 3-1 win. I expect this to be a 3-2 win here for the Edmonton Oilers. My only concern with this total is if we do see this one with the empty netter or this one go to overtime. We know with that empty netter, that's going to screw our LA Kings on that puck line at plus 1.5, but I would rather take the chance on the puck line than anything else. I do think this game, if we see the goals, it's in the first period. I think we see a higher scoring first period here, unlike the other games. We know the Edmonton Oilers played really solid defense the last 2 versus the LA Kings. So it's a little scary with this full total. If you're looking at the full total, I'd look at the under 6.5. But we know the firepower of both of these teams. So in the parlay, I'm going to take the Kings and the Oilers under 6.5. I just can't see these teams coming out and just stepping up and just playing offense and not playing defense, and these goaltenders not having a really solid night. So like I said, with the goaltenders in this one, I am taking Skinner over 27.5 save shots on goal. I love the Kings' ability to get these shots and the lack of defense for the Edmonton Oilers, but I will take Korpisalo over as well because I think the Kings' defense is going to have a really hard time stopping Edmonton from getting these shots on goal. So I think both of these goalies are live to go over their numbers, and Sorokin, absolutely live. He is my favorite goalie prop. His number is hugely high at 30.5, but Sorokin has to come out on fire tonight. Show us why. Everyone knows Sorokin is such a fantastic goalie. He can get over these save shots. And the Carolina Hurricanes, they put up a lot of shots on goal, averaging 34.8. So I do think the shots are coming in. It's going to be a fantastic one. So the goalie props, Sorokin over, Korpisalo over, and Skinner over. Those are the only goalies I'm looking at because I do think if you looked at Ottinger and Gustafsson with the abilities of both of these teams to limit their opponents, especially the Dallas Stars, only to 29.9, and I think defenses are going to be on fire in this one. I think we see a lot more block shots. So hopefully these books start opening those block shots on goal, especially for the Colorado Avalanche and Cale Makar. Hopefully he's coming back in for the playoffs here. He has been out the last couple of games, but him betting his block shots on goal was absolutely money last season. And all this season, I haven't been able to get it on my books. So fingers crossed, you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. To recap that parlay, the Canes, -170 on the money line, the Panthers +1.5, the Wild and the Stars under 5.5, and the Kings and the Oilers under 6. If you wanted to do a long shot, straight up parlay winner, man, do we go Edmonton? Do we take all the home teams? Can the Boston Bruins still pull off the win? I don't know. The Florida Panthers, like I said, this might be their only shot. So if you're looking for a little sprinkle, the Canes, the Panthers, the Stars, and the Edmonton Oilers for 4 straight up winners tonight. So you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Kelly, I'm so glad to see you in. And yeah, we all hate seeing that sickness. So you guys have a great night. Keep smiling. Make sure you join me back here tomorrow for another Pikkit with Joe. Drop below this video. And you guys, when you comment below the videos, it really helps me out for getting my video out to more people. So when the show's done, just send me a message below this video. Let me know who you think could take the Stanley Cup. If you think the Bruins will get upset tonight without their top goalies, with Omek and Swarman not possibly in this game. What? We're seeing Copley? No, I am not seeing Copley. I'm seeing Korpisalo confirmed. What? I'm still seeing Korpisalo on all of my books for his props and not Copley. I'm reloading. I'm reloading, you guys. I'm still seeing Korpisalo. Don't tell me Copley. If it's Copley, you guys, don't take his over 6 shots. And I really like Copley. And don't get me wrong. All you LA Kings fans out there, don't send me hate. I like Copley. But I do think Korpisalo versus the Edmonton Oilers is pivotal for him to be in. So let's pray for that. If it is Copley, take the Oilers laying the 1.5 on the puck line. And I hate to say it, but I do think Korpisalo has a better chance. So under this video, drop who you like to win the Stanley Cup, who you think could get the upset tonight, what you're betting, what you're parlaying. Drop a high, drop whatever you want. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'm going to start trying to stop saying, I said it way too many times. You guys, we'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Let's make some freaking money. Bye, guys.